The first thing you should know about my friend Andrew is that one of his favorite movies is The Secret Life of Walter Mitty, the 2013 version starring Ben Stiller in James Thurber's classic story of a daydreamer who escapes his anonymous life by disappearing into a world of fantasies filled with heroism, romance, and action. The cinematography is breathtaking and the acting is good, but the film turns the Walter Mitty prototype on its head. Since 1939, Thurber's character has signified an ordinary, ineffectual, inept person, a dreamy and hapless man. The next thing you should know about Andrew is that he doesn't know the short story. He knows the heroic Walter Mitty, who does take action, who embarks on a global adventure and actually does an extraordinary thing. It makes so much sense because Andrew himself is a historical revision. He's a very young person with the soul and some of the affects of a grandfather. He's a winsome and winning figure in the age of the anti-hero, a throwback to another time, but part of his time all at once. Sort of sounds more like Big Lebowski when you think about it. Either way, Andrew abides.
The first thing you should know about my friend Mrs. Filholm is that she recently chipped a tooth, cracked a tooth. I don't know what she did to her tooth, but it's broken. And that happened a week ago, and this morning she went in to have it fixed. I don't know what Mrs. Filholm was doing to cause this, and I don't know... this is so hard.
Obviously you didn't
write it. It's so hard to do it live.
Write some notes.
Okay, hold on.
Write bullet points. We're awesome. We're professionals.
The first thing you should know about my friend Mrs. Filholm is that she recently chipped a tooth. It happened last week, and this morning she went in to have it fixed. The next thing you should know about Mrs. Filholm is that not only is she recording her audiobook and making an adult coloring book, but she's also dropping a new album as evidenced by her new metal teeth. Welcome to Half My Age, a weekly show in which a 25-year-old adult and a 50-year-old child help each other make sense of the world.
Metal teeth. Okay, I don't have metal teeth.
You sure do have metal teeth.
I don't have metal teeth. I have a temporary crown. I'm a royalty. I have a temporary crown on my tooth made out of acrylic, and I think it's probably white. I haven't even looked. And in 2 weeks, I go back and get a porcelain crown. So I'm going to bring the dentist a porcelain bowl. We're going to exchange porcelain.
You're going to have a porcelain crown? That's so appropriate. You spend so much of your time in porcelain.
Yeah, isn't that awesome?
I
wish we could do an exchange, like a barter. He actually said to me today, the dentist said he works for a big corporate, Comfort Dental. I don't care. He said that his neighbor growing up was a dentist, and he goes, and that guy, private practice back in the day, he goes, he did barter for stuff. Like he got a car once for some dental work, and I always thought I would grow up to be a dentist who bartered, but it doesn't work that way at Comfort Dental.
Well, I would think that if you were bartering, since a porcelain bowl is so much larger than a porcelain cap, that you would get, all your teeth could be capped for free.
Right?
One would think.
I sure don't like having my teeth drilled into and stuff. I don't hate it. It doesn't bring me actual anxiety, but I'm just not very used to it. I've had healthy teeth my whole life. I've had very little tooth work done of any kind, but I don't love it.
I was a little concerned when you said you were going to the dentist this morning because I thought maybe they would numb up your mouth and you would have some trouble making words.
I also wondered.
Fortunately for you, I'm late today.
Exactly. It didn't hurt because it was a little weird. He said, drink coffee, it speeds it up, and I'm fine now. It hurts a little on my jaw, but I thought that too, because if you had been here right when I arrived, it might have been a little bit funny. And I couldn't, but it's good. Yeah, you were a little late today, so, we had to change our schedule. So that was fortuitous. Okay, how I chipped it was eating the salsa out of my garden, which is pretty mushy food with chips, but there wasn't, anyway. I didn't notice it. I didn't bite it. Did you
find a stone or anything?
Nope, nothing. There was nothing hard. I didn't bite the tooth chip. I must have swallowed it. No, it just came right out.
That's scary.
Yeah. It was an old molar with a metal filling, so now I no longer have metal grills. I had an old filling from, when I was a teenager, and we kind of had known the tooth was cracked. I had similar work done on the other side of my mouth. I mean, they replaced the filling last year in November. Probably should have just done this one. It wouldn't have happened. So it did not have any pain. It just cracked off a little back piece of the tooth. It feels like a gaping canyon in your mouth.
Oh,
right?
yeah.
It's so weird how your mouth just can change your day. And I kind of freaked out and I felt badly. I have rarely had dental insurance as an adult. For the past few years at the university, we had dental insurance. Up until then, I never had. So I was just like, just whatever. And it wasn't even bad. I went to Comfort Dental and they gave me the rate for poor people and it's done. I mean, as long as the porcelain thing works and I don't lose this one in the meantime. They sent me home with my little imprint in case I pop this out. Like by chewing bubble gum or something.
So they can just make another one quickly?
And so it's, I guess, I don't know how all that all works, but I tell you, I'm lying there in the chair going, they're doing things I like a lot. Epoxy, molding things out of porcelain.
Right, that's not that different from, they're using the same tools that you would use for arts and crafts.
Completely. I buy dental tools to do sgraffito on porcelain. So why wasn't I a dentist? I don't know. People's mouths, I guess.
Dentistry is interesting. I think it's one of those things. I know one person who went on to become a dentist who's my age, and his father was a dentist and his grandfather was a dentist. I think that's something, unless your parent is a dentist, or in your case, the guy's neighbor was a dentist, it seems like a profession you're unlikely to fall into.
Yeah, I wonder. Do you know the movie or the stage show Little Shop of Horrors?
I've heard of it. I've never seen it.
Oh, it's so funny. And Steve Martin's character in the movie is he's a sadomasochist dentist.
Oh, yeah?
Uh-huh. And so because he enjoys pain, there's a big number in the show where he says when he was a little kid, his mom would say, "Son, be a dentist. You'll be a success." But it was because he liked pain so much. It's a very funny little character. That's what I think a lot of people think about dentists. I've really seriously always had good teeth and been pretty lucky. And I realize that, I don't even know what is a root canal, but it sure is one of the things I have fear about in life. So, about the money of it and the pain of it, I don't even know what it is. Don't want to really know.
I've always enjoyed the dentist, and I think that's one of the many things that make me weird. But there's nothing better than going in and having clean teeth.
Clean teeth feels
I don't know about emergency surgery. I'm kind of lukewarm on that for sure. But just going in for a cleaning, nothing better.
I agree. Just never bothered me, and they always seem like nice guys.
They also really get in there. They poke and they prod and they make your gums bleed. It feels like you're cleaning everything out, which I like.
It does. I like it too. Yeah, I like it a lot. So anyway, that was that. Speaking of movies, I just mentioned the Little Shop of Horrors. You said you had some follow-up about my cold open today?
Yeah.
All right. Do you have to set the record straight there?
No, I don't have to set any record straight.
Okay.
Secret Life of Walter Mitty is an excellent movie. I recommend people go see it. But you said an historical.
Well, I did.
I want to know. You're the English teacher here. I'm the lowly student. Explain to me when you use an and when you use a, and whether an historical is appropriate.
Well, I don't know. And the funny thing is, you heard me do it. I don't know, and I did it both ways. Historic is more common in both American and British English, but both uses are sufficiently common to be considered correct. A well-known grammar rule says we should use "and" before vowel sounds, which is right. And it's not like I say historic. I don't know why that sounded better to me. First I said a historic, then, okay, I'll tell you why I did that. It doesn't start with a vowel sound. An hour, historic. So I did that wrong.
So the reason I asked this is because I've been working through old seasons of MASH again. Not that there are new seasons of MASH, but in this particular episode I watched maybe last night or the night before, Dr. Benjamin Franklin Hawkeye Pierce is impersonating Charles Emerson Winchester III over the radio, and they want some frontline major to give them a harmonica. And while Pierce is impersonating Winchester's hoity-toity way of speaking, he says, "I want you to bring me an harmonica." And that's why I think I've been...
it doesn't sound... Yeah.
I've been hypersensitive for the last 2 days to an versus a.
That's awesome. And that's exactly right. It's a put on when somebody is making fun of someone who is being overcorrect and over-enunciating to be fancy. Okay, I am going to actually put in show notes. I just did it live during the show, which I don't normally do. A website here that Scribe Consulting that is talking about the grammatically which is right, and it gives amazingly 2 n-gram fewer charts, allowing us to see how the usage has changed over time in the United States of America and in British English. So in American English, strong preference for a historic since the 40s. The chart for British English shows a preference for a historic, but not as strong. And that's only lately, early before 1960, actually, in British English, and historic was more preferred. But more recently, a historic is popular in British English, perhaps reflecting the influence of American English brought about by the internet. Okay, so what I just did was dumb and overcorrecty, and I'll tell you why I did it. I had it written as a historic because that is correct and what I would always have done in my life. As I said it, I felt a glottal stop.
A glottal stop. That's a stop in the mouth region, in the
it's a
tongue
stop.
or throat. What's the glot?
It's a stop at the back of your throat. The what's that called back there? Back of your tongue. Good golly, what's it called? What's that? That thing when you put the back of your tongue up at the top of your mouth and you make that sound. It's a very harsh and ugly sound, and I try to avoid it. And I've been doing recording jobs lately, and I try to avoid doing the glottal stop. So I'm just pulling up my cold open here. Historical. I said historical, and the I just felt a glottal stoppy, and I stopped and I revised it right there and said Andrew himself is in historical revision because I thought it sounded smoother. So that's what I did right there in the moment, was change it to make it smoother because I've been doing in the studio voiceover work.
That's really interesting. You said something just then while you were describing that. You said it sounded dumb and overcorrecty. And that reminds me so much. I had an English teacher long before you who tore into us about saying the T in often.
Oh, yes, correct. Yep.
For a long time. And I think if you look in the dictionary today, it says you can pronounce it either way, with or without the T. But I think for the longest time, it started out as being, it was incorrect to pronounce the T in often. It's just for often, sure. Not often. And people were being dumb and overcorrecty by saying often.
Agreed. And I remember learning that in theater school. People were saying often was we were harangued for that too. Like, that's overcorrecty. Absolutely. And historical I might have been trounced for that one too. That's funny. I just absolutely did it as a little quick change to what I perceived as that ugly glottal stop. And and in theater school, sort of you take some kind of old school word for it is elocution classes where, sort of speaking and pronunciation, and you learn as much as possible, especially when close up on the microphone. If you're going for a professional tone, you want to avoid those glottal stops. And in common parlance, we just sort of say them a lot, often, ugh. But anyway, so I heard that and I tried to smooth it over, which is a little crazy. The other thing that we do to overcorrect that it's that thing. There was a recent episode of the Omnibus Project, of the Omnibus, about this, whether people are pedantic or not and overcorrecty. When people say, because they have learned so much, to never say me and Andrew. You should say Andrew and I, sure. Right? Because the kids, I think, in sort of slang, it's like, me and Andrew are going to the store. Andrew and I are going to the store. And then when people make the mistake of when it's actually in the objective case, so they say, they gave the gift to Andrew and I. No, they gave it to Andrew and me. So they overcorrect when it should be me, but they're thinking, no, the proper thing is Andrew and I, because they learned it that way. So that's one of those things.
I do that all the time.
Do you?
Yeah.
Use it in the objective case?
I use it incorrectly. I say Andrew and I when I mean Andrew and me.
Well, get over it, son. You know better than that. You know how to diagram a sentence. You know how it hangs on the objective there, or when it's a direct object. You know it comes after the stand-up line.
Oh, I know how it works.
I know you know how it works. Get it straight. So anyway, I overcorrected there, which is funny. Anything else you wanted to unpack in that?
No.
Would
you
I
recommend?
It was maybe the content. No, it was just it's just what I did.
Would you recommend going back and reading the short story? Is it a good?
Oh yeah. Oh, it's wonderful. Walter Mitty. Oh yeah. It's just and that was a known thing when that movie came out. It's just a different thing. It's a delightful thing. I do know a few surly people who go, I don't like that movie, Walter Mitty. And I'm like, come on, how can you? It's really a delightful movie. It's just a feel-good movie.
I think it's a little slow for some people. It's not...
The people that I'm talking about are intellectual people who watch like Kurosawa movies. Is that a thing? They watch long, expansive movies. It's not the pace. It's people who are purists. Well, they go, it's not Thurber's Guy.
It's too different than the book.
Thurber's Guy does not actually, he doesn't pine for a beautiful woman and kind of get spurred on by action by her. He has a naggy wife, and part of his escape is he's trying to escape his really the doldrums of his everyday life. And it doesn't work out for him well in his fantasies either. You should totally read it. Of course you should read it. What a great reference point. You'd be crazy not to, Andrew. You'd be crazy not to. You're going on an adventure soon. By the time this drops, I guess you'll be back.
I should hope so. Let's see. Yeah, I will be. And I'm excited. Delaney and I are going to Montreal, and I don't know a whole lot about Montreal. So it'll be a new, exciting place and a big adventure, and I can't wait.
You're just going for a vacation?
Just a vacation.
You're going to get some chill? You going to look for some aloha up there?
Maybe. I imagine, well, I don't know if there's aloha in Canada, but there's certainly a lot of apology in Canada. So I'll come back very contrite.
You come back an apologetic. A professional scapegoat. I did it. I'm sorry, I did it. Okay, either way. Hope you get some chill. Hope you have a fun vacation.
I do too. It's been, I haven't really had a break since I went and started freelancing. And Delaney's she's been in her job for 8 months, no vacations either. So it's about time we get out there and stop working just for a little bit.
Nice. Are you guys you must be in the anticipation stage, packing, planning, fun?
She is. I'm dealing with some little fires at work that I'm trying to put out right now. So I don't have mental bandwidth to start worrying about the trip yet. But it's coming up very quickly. And before then, we've got a big wedding we're going to. So
that's right.
There's some prep. I've got, when I graduated college, the thought was that I was going to go out and get a nice office job. And I had a big trip with the finance department. We were going to go meet a lot of VPs and executives of large companies like Aflac and Lloyd's of London in London. I was going to go on this big trip with the finance department and do all this stuff. So knowing that I was leaving school and I was going on this big important trip, my parents bought me a set of suits. So I've got 3 different suits, blue, gray, black. And since that extremely hot trip, those smelly suits have been sitting in my closet unwashed. No. So one of the prep things is I had to take 3 suits to the dry cleaner. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So there's a bunch of little loose end kind of stuff that's got to happen.
Oh, I bet. It's all that stuff. But it's fun. It's not worrying. It's anticipation. It'll be great.
It is fun. I can't wait.
Time. Yeah, and you've been both really kind of grinding, so you have some nice downtime together. Fun. And hope it will be a little bit cooler up there than it has been down here.
Yeah, it's been hot. Today on the way to the dollhouse, the temperature thing says 95, but on the roads it's like 100 degrees, and people are out there just, laying in whatever shade they can find, shirts off.
I know it. That's what you saw on the way to the dollhouse?
I also saw it's lunch hour at the high school near here, so I saw lots of teens sitting around eating their lunches, and it's a nice thing to see. It's happy.
I agree. That's cute. Not on my way to the dollhouse today, but in the alley where the zombies play, Andrew, I'd like to tell you about some things. Mm-hmm. I did. Okay, my cousins, by the time this drops, they will be long gone, but I have cousins, Jessica and Bradley, coming to visit, and they are Lane cousins, and they like our podcast. You're going to meet them because they want to see the dollhouse and they want to meet Andrew. Bradley is a total awesome handyman, and I know he will do work for me here, and he knows that
he knows you expect it.
Oh, 100%. I mean, when lane men come, they're going to fix stuff. It's how it happens. And he knows the need because my daddy isn't available to help me with that stuff. So Brad can't wait. But also, they're going to be here like 4 days. And I'm not, I want to play with my cousins. So I am trying to really prioritize the list of things that Bradley should do versus things I can do versus things a handyman can do. So I decided I would tear down these 2x4 shelves in my garage because they were just not serving me. I wanted them down. And it meant I had to take off a crap load of crap that was heavy. Oh my God, move all these boxes, go through all these boxes, most of which is scrapbooky stuff. So it's also been like a very emotional journey down memory lane, finding stuff from my youth. And you know how I feel about the trophies. I can throw the trophies out, but the scrapbooks I have mixed feelings. So I'm kind of trying to consolidate all of that. It's emotional and it's been hot, not overwhelming in that garage. But I buy myself with 2 different drills, like Makita style drills, 5 freaking different screwdriver bits, because who builds shelves with 5 different kinds of screw heads? Do you remember our last conversation? I have follow-up on freaking fasteners also. I sent you a picture from the Home Depot. Okay. So anyway, I'm in there doing this. This is not really a little tiny girl job. These are floor-to-ceiling shelves made of thick 2x4s. I mean, the normal size 2x4. They felt very thick.
2x4 size 2x4?
Yes, indeed. And they felt very big and intimidating and all bolted in. And, you know, like you take parts apart. It's long shelves, so parts are going to fall down when you unscrew that one screw. I did it all by myself. I felt very badass. I moved the lumber out into the alley just today before you came. A man drove by and picked up all of the lumber. I can't believe it took 4 days, but there it was. Goodbye. There it is. Still have some shelves back there somebody might want. I'm going to get them out of there this weekend if they're not gone. I'm not advertising. This isn't Craigslist. So it's not next door. But there's some shelving in my alley. So I got that done. But while I was doing it, there was a certain amount of having to keep the garage door open and do my work. And it's hot. And so, I mean, I'm looking exactly as I look right now. Do-rag in my hair, keeping my neck wet.
You got metal teeth. Do-rag in your
metal
teeth. Metal in your teeth.
I'm wearing my bathing suit top and a skirt and flip-flops. I mean, and I'm sweating like a 50-year-old woman who's taking apart some shelves. And maybe you saw it on the Instagram because I did make it into a funny little post. The zombies walking down my alley. Well, here was one of my funny responses. You know, this is more like the comeback that I thought of later. Thanks for the compliment, but no, I don't pump weights. I get these sexy muscles from beating up guys who talk to me about sexy muscles when I'm just minding my own business. Garage door down. So that's what I actually did, was just close the garage door and said, thanks, garage door down. And then, but that, I wish I had thought to say that to him. And then the other guy was my response in my imaginary land, which is the Instagram where I can make it funnier than it was in real life, was, hey, thanks for the offer, but no, I don't want to shake your cousin Cornelius's hand, even though he admired my cube. Just trying to take my shelves down here, and technically you're on my property, so garage door down, boom. Real happy for my garage door man, but you can't just mind your own business out in your alley on Shakedown Street on a hot day.
What you need is one of those 2x4s with a couple screws sticking out of it.
Well, the funny thing about that is I was real lazy.
Around.
No kidding. I took, if only they were shorter and short enough for me to wield. You're right. Maybe I just make a weapon. I have a taser, bro. Hey, I thought of an idea.
What's your idea?
I sent you a podcast.
I'm not going to be tased by you.
No, I'm over that. I sent you a podcast long ago in some version of Slack that you didn't watch, listen to, whatever. But I should go look for it again. There's a podcast, and I think it might have been 99% Invisible, because they talk about urban design and human design. And it was the problem that a guy was trying to solve was junkies and homeless people, like in a median right in front of his house in California somewhere. And the guy thought of all different ways of tending to this, which you and I have discussed a lot about the zombie playground back there. He ended up buying a giant Buddha from Home Depot and securing it in and just leaving it there. And then it became this phenomenon. I mean, I will post it in the show notes. I can't remember a single detail about it. It was months ago when I listened to this. But like a group of real Buddhists, I can't remember from what country, like found it to be a holy gathering place, and now it's like an actual place, and there's meditating and singing and bells there throughout the day.
Now it's not homeless people, it's Buddhists.
Correct. And then there's flags flying and stuff, but it's beautiful. I mean, what it did was actually brought the crime rate down in the neighborhood and all kinds of things, like actual successful story. There is a second example of such a thing that I've heard somewhere similar, maybe that exact same podcast, but I've heard it in several versions, where there was a lot of street vandalism, like rocks through windows of merchants and stuff, and they painted murals of happy baby faces. And honestly, people don't go. At 7-Eleven, not that many blocks from my house on Colfax, absolutely is one of those things that you hear about where they are blasting classical music. There's a parking garage downtown, one of my comic friends told me about, where they blast opera music at all times, like in the stairwells, like blasting it. But anyway, so these are like these human design things. I swear to God, what if I got like a giant glowing Blessed Sacred Heart of Jesus or Blessed Mother statue or something, or like a giant crucifix on the garage wall there, right where I think they turn they tricks and do they drugs, cook they crack, their smack, right there. Like, what if there's a giant crucifix that looked like it came from a church? Like
Jesus is watching, Mary's watching. Cut that shit out.
Maybe. I am not 100% kidding that I might try something similar.
I'd be interested to hear how it works. I don't know what you'd pick. I know there's some like Catholic statue stores around.
I know the hunt for this is half of what makes it interesting.
And I'm interested to know whether they behave themselves.
I know.
First of all, you need to get your camera up back there that I advised against because I said it's probably better not to know what goes on back there. And then once you can see what's going on, then you can really do some science when you put your statue.
That's right. It has been pointed out to me that they may just vandalize the statue and make me feel even madder at humanity. Well, the comics also have pointed out that when we back there, maybe the human thing to do when I was going, well, at least they're using condoms, I guess, you know. They go, why don't you put like a night table with some towels, waters. I'm not going to say the rest of the gross things they say, but you get it.
What if you just painted a big Mary, Mother of Jesus on your garage door?
Possibly. Or similar to that. I'm not kidding. Because I'm not going to do that to wreck my garage door. It's a vinyl garage door. I can't, I'm not going to mess the warranty of my vinyl fence and security fence and garage door. But no, I could see installing a something.
Or maybe there's some kind of non-permanent decal.
Sure, fathead. Do a big fathead. Fathead of Mary.
A fathead of Jesus.
I mean, see, this might actually, I also reserved a couple of big pieces of plywood, and I thought I might just paint something like a couple of saints that are standing there, like in the sort of, archways of a medieval church. I don't know, Andrew, and the chances of me getting to this anytime soon are slight, but I think that's kind of an interesting idea, and I'm only partially joking about it. Also, follow up on that. I think I have myself a handyman.
Follow up on your follow-up? Tell me about your handyman. This is a comic, right?
Am I allowed to say that comic is off the project. I'm sorry, I haven't followed up with you. He did not make his prescribed appointment. He did that day ask me if I wanted to come to a pop-up open mic he was hosting at his mom's house in West Denver. So
did I not mention that?
You mentioned all of it.
Comedians are
right.
flakes?
You were right. You turned out to be right, and nobody was surprised, including me. Like, all right, I thought I'd give it a go. It was a possibility. It didn't work out. This is a guy who, his work is good. He does good work, I have no doubt, but he also does drugs. So, yeah, he's not going to be reliable. So he's not coming to be my handyman. I told him he's off the project, and he mentioned to me, no, I got my brakes fixed. It's all good now. I went, no. So then, I think and I think we've discussed it a tiny bit, how much I really don't like next door. There have been a few interesting things since I moved into the neighborhood. Like I learned about that guy's flags down the street. We've talked about that. Obviously, there's some good stuff. But anyway, I found this guy who offered handyman services, and he is, in fact, by trade, a plumber.
Okay.
And he said, yep, great. And he's close by, which I like a lot because that occurs to me that sometimes when I'm going to need a handyman, it's like something's flooding or something's breaking, I need someone who can, as I've said, who's invested in being here, being paid to be my handyman. So anyway, he tried to come over the Labor Day weekend, and I was busy and we missed each other. And then he came and I walked him through the whole punch list, and he gave me some estimates. And in that time, since I had retained him and sort of checked his references, my garbage disposal broke. And wasn't draining. So I had a real issue in the sink, and I have guests coming. So that turned out to be fortuitous. He told me what to buy, and I went to Home Depot and got it. And now I have a new garbage disposal. He did that yesterday. He also checked my water pressure to my outdoor hoses, used some channel locks to tighten up. I know. My hose connectors.
It's convenient that he just so happened to be a plumber.
It is more than convenient. That was stunning because those were some of my first jobs.
That's one of the things in a house that I would not want to get wrong is the plumbing.
Same.
Right? If your cabinets don't quite touch the wall, that's one thing. But if you got some leak you don't know about, whew.
Okay. And I actually, you won't be surprised to learn, discovered this phenomenon many years ago when I thought I could just replace the spigots in my bathroom with something cuter. I bought a cute little set of, new turny handles at Home Depot. Oh, my God. That ended up being, we tore apart the whole bathroom. Once you start a plumbing thing, right, it's a scene. And plumbers know and respect that. So that's right. That wasn't something, I didn't even know that this guy by trade was a plumber. I really was just sort of I need a handyman. It's been hard for me to get good help. Do you have references? What can you do? And then turns out he's a plumber and was right on it. And also was I'm not doing any electrical. So I still have some electrical that I need to find. My cousin Bradley might be able to do the electrical. So we'll see. So the list is we are attacking this list. Some things I can do, some things cousin can do, and now I have a handyman. We'll see. He has a full-time job, so he's a part-time handyman. But we'll see how interested he really is, because I know I'm a lot. I got a lot of work, but right now I have a nice new garbage disposal that barely makes any noise.
When I was
Handyman.
I don't remember, when I was younger. I think the garbage disposal in my parents' house had been bad for a long time, and they just got so fed up they went and bought a new garbage disposal, like one of the biggest ones you could get, because they were so pissed off at having a garbage disposal that didn't work.
Inferior. Oh yeah, you're talking horsepower when you go look at garbage disposals.
You are talking horsepower. And we put this thing in, and it was, it was a fun project. It was like a half day or whatever. Is a good project. But I'm pretty sure that you can stick like a tennis ball down there and it will shred it to smithereens.
Nice.
And that's the kind of like overbuilding thing that I really enjoy.
I know you do.
Like, and everything, it seems like everything in Home Depot, they advertise in numbers of tennis balls you can either make disappear or destroy.
Yeah,
like,
or golf balls down the toilet videos.
Right,
Yeah,
right.
I talked about that when I was
there are
getting
golf
a
ball
toilet.
toilets and then there are tennis ball toilets.
Yeah, I suppose. I don't care about any of that because I know the pressure I need. It was just like, let's get the exact same one. Seems good. Thanks, brah.
What do you got down there? A third of a horse?
No, I got
half
a half horsepower. That's all I need. I'm a single lady at the dollhouse. He also is very, very concerned about the plumbing under my bathroom sink, and so am I. I can tell it's janky. Okay, I very nearly, because I've seen somebody replace a garbage disposal before. We lost one at the old house. I saw a guy replace it. Sure,
rest in peace.
One went down, and I'm like, I can definitely do that. I have YouTube now. I can go to Home Depot right now, replace this thing. I had already got this guy on retainer. You know what I mean? It was like he's showing up on, I think we had a plan. He's coming on whatever day. And I was like, okay, Lisa. And then I texted him and went, okay, I have learned long ago, I think I am a badass and can do everything. I'm not going to touch this. So
that's one of those
come
things.
Over.
It really helps to have an extra set of hands because there is a lot of weight in a garbage disposal. And I think
it's heavier than I thought.
It's got to hang from the sink bottom. Like, you gotta have someone help you, or you got to prop it up somehow. Or
Oh, he did it all by himself. He's a big man.
Yeah.
But I just knew better, and I texted like, okay, just so you know, I'm not touching this because I know it would make a bigger mess for you if you. And he was pleased about that.
Did he straighten out all of the other jankiness underneath your sink?
No, bathroom sink is the next job. We're going to go job by job. He's going to quote me by job. I could stand an older, less adorable handyman. That's all I'm going to say about that. That's all I'm going to say about that. Anyway, so it seems to be good so far. Good, solid garbage disposal installed, and hope that guy's ready to be working here a lot. Got a lot of plans. Got a lot of projects. So, back to the freaking fasteners.
Oh, yes.
Oh, my God. Did you see the picture I sent you in Home Depot?
Yeah, that's the same. Mm-hmm. So in Home Depot, if you're in the fastener section, they've got a little like fastener tool to figure out what you're working with. And it's got threats of studs you can put your bolt into, or it's got nut sizes if you're
you can compare them to.
Yeah.
Doesn't help. Because then where are you going to? I can't even. And the Home Depot that I go to in this neighborhood is actually noticeably a bad Home Depot. Really not helpful. Truly noticeably different. If I should not go there when I need help. It's different in different neighborhoods. I don't even. It doesn't matter why. I was like you on a mission for 4 nuts for a thing that came, and I am sure they are not proprietary. I literally gave up. I threw it back in my bag, sent you that picture with a very angry little commentary from Home Depot, didn't I? Do you remember what I said? I was so mad.
You said something to the effect of, you can't even.
I said, fuck me gently. I was like, I'm out. Brad Lane, by the time this drops, Brad Lane will have solved that ish. I'm sending my cousin to the Home Depot because I'm sure that the size of fasteners doesn't freak him out like it does me.
Right. I had the opposite problem. I went to the guy in there and I asked for help. And he just shamed me for for 10 minutes about how little I knew about fasteners.
In that case, it does help to be a tiny blonde girl. It does help. They just won't shame me. They would, you know what I mean? And probably he would have more quickly gotten to, you can't get there from here. He was schooling you maybe. He was fronting, he was challenging. There was a little bit of competition. Do you want to talk about competition? Did you bring me some sourdough starter?
No, I didn't.
Bread?
I was in a rush today. I forgot it. But the starter works. I've made the bread.
I saw
and
the
it is
bread.
so good.
You made friendship bread.
No, that one that I sent you was
sourdough bread. It looked like sourdough bread. Is it delicious? Andrew, you didn't bring me a starter.
It is delicious. I'm sorry.
Did you like the pickles?
When I get together with Brad and Jessica?
Yes, are my cousins this Sunday. We'll either go to brunch or we'll go paddleboarding.
I'll bring some starter.
Okay. Bro, it looks delicious. It's beautiful.
It turned out
beautiful
so well.
Loaf of bread.
And I can't imagine what it would be like to learn how to make this bread if I didn't have the magic of YouTube.
I told you, your grandmother would have taught you. Stop it. Okay, as you left last week, I said, bring me some sourdough starter. Of course, lies. Did you bring me a piece of bread?
Mm-mm. I ate it all. I actually ate an entire... So
sourdough, you can do that too.
We made the friendship bread on Saturday last week. Delaney and I finished a whole loaf of that. And then the sourdough, that was like Tuesday. I've eaten 2 loaves of bread this week.
Oh my God. I can't even. I would fall asleep from one slice of bread. I eat so little carbs. Well, lately I've been eating some carbs. Anyway, as you were leaving, I said, bring me some sourdough starter. And then I said, then let's have a competition. Let's see who can make the best sourdough bread. And you said you didn't want to compete.
Now that I know what I'm capable of.
Okay. Okay, good. Because what you said to me was, I said, I thought you thought everything was a competition. And you said, I only like to compete when I know I can win. And that I took as a great compliment that you thought I could beat you at sourdough bread making. But you see, you can do it.
Yeah.
Real success. But now, I don't know. I still think we could compete. I mean, we just have to decide the measure.
Yeah, I don't know. We'd have to have some kind of blind tasting with people.
It could be taste, it could be texture, it could be shape, it could be what can you add to it, how can you make it better, how many loaves could you make in a week, how can you get creative with it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just saying, it strikes me, when you have sourdough starter and I have sourdough starter, which I will soon, it makes me want to compete. I don't know. I guess, and then I actually thought about that all week because I think of myself as not competitive and, oh God, sports, kill me now. Don't care. Oh, I was an athlete growing up, but then I just got into this, like, I don't care.
Yeah.
Probably aggressively. Probably that was the way I handled not being an athlete anymore. But, so I think I'm not super competitive, but it is funny that when stuff like that, I think it's mostly jokey stuff. Stand on your head. I threw my elbow out a couple of years ago showing my little cousin that I could do 13 cartwheels in a row. I mean, like that. Like the show-offy-ness in me comes out. Like, yeah, okay, how long can you stand in here? And I don't really care about winning. It's just like, yeah, let's go. So I thought all the week, because as you were leaving last week, like with your helmet on, I was like, let's have a competition. Plus, we had mentioned the possibility of knife skill competitions.
Oh, yeah.
I bet I could, if with the right knife and the right YouTube training, I'm pretty sure we could have onion chopping competitions.
I am so happy with my knife purchase.
Okay.
Yeah, I got the.
Have you been practicing on onions?
I've been using my chef's knife on this crusty sourdough.
Sure.
You don't even need a bread knife. This knife is so sharp and so nice.
Isn't that nice? It's such a big deal. I remember a little bit younger than you when we went from our first like truly crappy, hand-me-down plastic bladed knives to somebody bought us like a $25 bread knife or something, and it was like, oh my God, it's a miracle. I have been chopping all the produce.
Yeah, you asked me if I liked your pickles. They were great. They're delicious. I ate them the same day.
Got more cucumbers. I have still 50 tomatoes on the bottom. Every single day I bring in tomatoes, and I've been making that pico de gallo salsa about every other day. A couple of mason jars full of it because I kind of don't know what else to do with all of these tomatoes.
Didn't you say on Instagram you cut yourself or you some kind of
Oh, taking down those shelves. I got a puncture wound in my leg. You want to see it? It's awesome.
No.
Taking down those shelves because I was being very lazy about taking out all of this. Okay, you were talking about I should make it into a weapon.
Yep.
The truth is I was getting lazy about taking out all of those screws. They were really long screws. Like I said, they had a variety of freaking heads to them.
It was whatever they had lying around.
Oh my God, I guess. And the jacking around with switching the heads on your drills would make it unpleasant. I don't know. And I think they've been in there for a long, long time. So they were like just fast in there, and the wood has gotten really dry. And so it actually, some of it just took more strength than I could get the freaking things out. And some of them standing up on ladders and stuff. So I pulled that out, and I told the guy who was picking up the wood in the alley today, I said, be careful. I did a real lazy job of taking out the bolts.
Screws,
they're long and they're sticking through because they used to be in the drywall, And so on one of those awesome, super, super sharp screws, I just punctured my leg. It seems about right. That was only one puncture wound, having to close the garage door twice on zombies going by.
Well, I'd say, one busted tooth and one puncture wound. That's actually a pretty uneventful week for you.
That's right. And the tooth was just a mystery, and it didn't cause any pain. I wasn't doing anything. I wasn't chewing bubblegum or chewing ice. It fell out, and I had no idea. All I knew was there was like, what in the world is going on there? And that night when that tooth fell out, I freaked out. Like I went, okay, time to shut everything down and go to bed. You're going to have to go to emergency dental surgery in the morning. And not at all. I didn't. The next morning was Labor Day. So the dentists were closed and I didn't have pain. So I knew it was not an emergency. Oh, for the love of God. Nothing could make me feel more old, Andrew, is when a tooth just falls out, breaks.
I've been watching my grandfather deal with that. And I think he's sick of being old. I think that's a little bit demoralizing.
It's completely all of it is demoralizing.
He calls it the too many birthdays problem.
I know.
He says, I just got that too many birthdays problem.
That's right. Oh, there used to be a lady at our church who would say, Lisa, 89 is not the same as 39. And I go, oh, I know, and 39 feels old to me right now, back in that day. Mm-hmm. I know. I guess still, though, Andrew, it beats the alternative, and mostly my body is healthy and works. Teeth don't last as long as the human lifespan, and we care about our teeth more than, they're kind of probably meant to fall out. And then you get gum disease, and that's what kills you. We live too long, man. We do. We live past our prime. Why do you think, I think this is a peso? Why did this peso just appear right here on my recording space? Huh. Where the heck did that come from?
Oh, did you? You know what that is?
No.
You live in the hood now. That's the Mexican tooth fairy.
Oh, my God. Ring the bell. That was funny, Andrew.
Were you not headed there? You just
set
me up like that?
Yeah, well, right next to me is a. I just said I'm going through all these boxes. Right next to me is a pile of my baby's actual scrapbooks, my children's, and like a book that my own baby book and memories that my mother wrote for my children because I am working on this new book and because I've been going through all these memory boxes. So likely this is from a trip or something special.
Baby's first piece of foreign currency.
I guess. Or it actually looks
baby's
like
first foreign bank account.
I can't even really see it. Oh, it's a euro. It's a €1 coin is what it is. So probably just fell out of something where I brought it back from a trip or something. It's a €1 coin. I couldn't quite see it. Anyway, so I'm like, what the? It just fell out of the memory banks. But I like everything about it being a peso, and the tooth fairy in the neighborhood came and left me that one. Because really, I didn't get any money under my pillow when that part of my tooth fell out.
I've got a lot of friends who went on to become elementary educators.
Mm-hmm.
And this one posted a note that she had to write to one of her students. Her student lost her tooth at lunch and she ate it or threw it away or whatever.
No.
And she had to write a note home to the tooth fairy to let them know that she had indeed verified the tooth.
Okay. Oh, God. That's so cute. Oh, I remember little boys' teeth falling out during baseball practice. Mm-hmm. And one of our Augie's very first practices when he was 5 or 6 years old, five, and somebody's tooth fell out, and Coach Mike it was so cute, and I knew I loved that man. He put it in his pocket. He said, okay, buddy, we'll, hand it, and put it in his pocket. Just put this little blade tooth in his pocket, and we'll deal with it later and get it to your mom and the tooth fairy. It was so cute.
For now, we're practicing batting.
Yeah, exactly right. Suck it up, little man. But no, just the cuteness of I don't know. It was similar to one time when I saw my friend with her mittens when we were standing out at some winter pageantry thing, wiping my little boy's nose with her own mittens. Just knowing that's a good friend who's helping you take care of your babies. That's your village right there. Yeah, we'll take your tooth. Oh, God. I remember when my kids took the bus to school for some of their elementary years, and I remember any kids getting off the bus with a tooth necklace. Because that's how they would send home those little teeth anymore, like a little tiny necklace. You got to keep your tooth. I remember Augie being in 2nd or 3rd grade and his paraprofessional at the end of the day telling me he really had a distracted day today because he's got this loose tooth and he was messing with it all day. And I remember going, I wouldn't ya? When there's something, you know what I mean? Especially when you're experiencing it for the first time as a kid. When there is something going on in your mouth, how can you think of anything else? It really, to me, feels quite overwhelming.
Yeah, totally. I remember that. That was that consumed you from the first time it wiggled until the moment it came out, which could be a couple days later.
Totally, or weeks later sometime. And just the whole, and all of it, teeth growing in, all of this. I mean, right now my tongue is probably still a little bit numb, but I'm sure I'm going to be running my tongue over that little acrylic crown.
I remember being that age and knowing that could happen, and I'd test my teeth just every now and again to see if there were any new wigglers.
Mm-hmm. And I was kind of late in losing my teeth, and I lost them very late, like into middle school. And then at that point, as soon as they got to be wigglers, I was disgusting. I mean, my mother was so grossed out. I would yank them out of my head. Like as soon as they got a little bit loose, I would get up there with like a nail file and pull them out with gross. Yeah, I'm just all in all the time. Kind of going ham about all of it all the time. But anyway, I have a plastic tooth for the moment. Really, it's fascinating content, what we're putting together right here. Andrew, I put in other topics. We haven't talked about a damn thing. Hold on. I have a thing. I have some topics.
I always like when we get 40, 45 minutes and you're like, we haven't said a goddamn thing.
But sometimes we actually do, and we've said something like, I just don't like it because I cried.
I'm entertained
dumb.
Today.
Okay, good. Well, you're drinking one beer, so... I mean, this is not entertaining at all. It's the opposite. Hey, listener, let me tickle your fancy. Keyboard 1 versus keyboard 2. I got a little copywriting job over the weekend, which is sweet. And I was actually pleased to know that I can write copy. I've been in a funny little place and I didn't trust my own skills, Andrew. And I turned around this quick little job, which was kind of a sample for a new client. Like, let's test it out. And I was like, I'm not sure I can write anymore. But I can, and I did a great job. Turned it around, feeling good about it. Ooh, and I had those voiceover videos drop this week too. Some of those are coming out, so that's cool.
I saw those videos. It's weird to see, pictures and then hear your voice behind them.
I know.
I can't wait for that one day when I'm browsing on YouTube or whatever, and the ad for this company comes up, and you're just talking to me.
There was a time that my ex-husband, years and years ago, when I was doing radio voiceover ads, heard an ad on the radio that like the second or third time and went, God, why is that voice so annoying? Is me. That voice is so annoying to him. And I was doing a character that was an annoying kind of character, but he honestly had just heard it in the background and not grokked that it was me, and then went, why is that voice so annoying every time this radio ad comes on? Oh, that's my wife. It's funny. Maybe that explains it all. Anyway, point being that when I'm doing writing jobs, part of that is editing and making sure your periods are in the right place and all of that, right? Hey, keyboard on my Macintosh Book Professional. Thanks for nothing. It's been real janky the last couple of days, and it's just so frustrating. I just got to take the Bluetooth keyboard and absolutely type on that, because when I'm just trying to type even just a tiny little page of copy, forget it. I mean, and then second, my keyboard, I know you can't relate because you don't have the same phone. My keyboard on my iPhone is making me crazy. Is there a way that I can deinstall my keyboard on my phone and reinstall it? Because I think it's the predictive text.
I'm sure there's a way you can have it forget all that stuff.
Forget all of it. Forget preferences.
Learned.
Okay.
I would think
I'll
so.
look into that, because it has been lately my phone. And by the way, often when I'm texting Andrew, I'm trying to be very funny. And just, one vowel different in one word can make a joke not as funny. So I really feel like my phone has been not helping me. And I realized last night when I was doing work on my computer, I hate to say this, and again, nobody wants to talk about this, but this is how we started talking back when we started this show. This computer is not as fun. This computer does not feel like an extension of me. I am still not 100% pleased with the search features on my computer. I sometimes have a hard time finding stuff, and I understand that I'm filing things in a janky way, but I feel like I did that on my old computer and it just knew me. It was predictive and I could type up whatever. This computer is still not as fun to me. Are you still having that, or have you made peace with it?
I've made peace with it. I'm still plugged in most of the time, so I'm using a Bluetooth keyboard most of the time. I don't have any real issues. I saw that I think it's this month. I think it's next week, actually. Apple's having a new another event, and they're predicting the tech predictors are predicting they unveil their new MacBook Pros with the new keyboards. And right now, if they came out tomorrow, my keyboard doesn't work well enough that I'm happy with it, but it's not so bad that I would try to sell my computer to lose $500 and get the new one.
I'm not sure about that either. I'm not sure about that either because the truth is lately my computer, the keyboard has been bothering me less just the past couple of days. And sometimes it's honestly like, turn it off, go put it in timeout. And it does come back different. When the times I've had that we've even talked about live where I'm just like, it's double spacing and crap like that. It kind of resets itself. But I don't know. It's not frustrating. I'm not sure it's frustrating enough either because I have the option to do the whatever. I'm just working differently with it now. It's still fine. And it's sitting here open in front of me. So computer, I still love you. Don't
But you're
rebel.
on notice. You're on notice.
Well, you've been on notice. It's a little disappointing. I just realized, like, again, and probably that search thing that I'm talking about, maybe I can teach it. Maybe there are ways I can do things differently. Maybe I have preferences funny, but you and I have looked at it before and it just does not, the Finder just does not work for me whatever. I don't remember imagining it. It's all very frustrating.
Like white people with their dogs and their yoga.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Okay, so anything else to follow up on? I sent you a video that I loved, but you didn't watch it.
I'm looking at this document, and it says I was not raised in a funny family. And I want to talk about that.
All right.
Do you want to?
Sure. I put that as a follow-up, and that's all I put, right?
Yep. Conversely, I was raised in a funny family.
Yeah.
My father, my mother, they both have very dry senses of humor, and it's very, not cutting in a mean way, but clever and witty and
teasing.
Yeah. And my two brothers and I, whenever we get together, it's one joke after another. It's like Pearson, Honeycutt, or Hawkeye.
My.
Hawkeye. Yeah.
You guys are good writers too.
I don't know about that. But
they tell funny jokes.
I grew up in a house where everything was a joke, and I think in particular between me and my older brother, everything really was a joke. If someone died, there was a joke to be made. If inappropriately so. And the more foul language we used, the funnier we thought it was. And that's kind of my experience growing up. And when people see us interact, sometimes they're surprised by how we seem to mistreat each other. When in actuality, hey, I can't even say it on this podcast. We'll get banned. But we'd say hello in a foul way. And that would catch some listeners off guard, and they say, "Oh my goodness, there's about to be a fight here." When really that's just our typical greeting. So my life was jokes 24/7 from the beginning. But you say you were not raised in a funny family.
Nope. Okay, back to your family. The interesting thing about that, I've seen you and your brothers. You've seen my two boys. Similar.
Oh yeah, also very funny. Your two boys are hilarious.
They're hilarious, but back in high school, it's not as funny. You've sat at the public dinner table with them when every sentence was D's nuts. Every sentence, right? Out of control. The funny thing about that, I was just pondering, which is not what I thought I was going to think about, is that you and your brother are not so much like that to anybody else.
No, I guess not, huh?
I mean, of course you can be teasy and jokey, and I think you're funny, and that was when I learned you were funny, that was where I started liking you, like always with people. You can tease with your girlfriends. You both tease with your girlfriends, but you do not treat them that way. You don't have like that ultimately brutal teasy relationships with either of your girlfriends, right? You can tease with them. Both of your girlfriends can tease back, and they're funny, but that's interesting. You don't take that persona out into the world to anybody else, really. Do you?
I think it depends how well I know people.
Sure. And I mean, I'm sure with your guy friends and whatever, obviously in high school, there that kind of fraternity life and stuff, there's that kind of stuff. But I mean, it's just not how you nor your brother present to the world, right? But, I've seen you together. It's insane. And sometimes you do feel like maybe it's preventing actual conversation, and it probably is, right? But it's your coping mechanism, and it works for you guys. And that, no judgment about that at all. I was not raised in a funny family. My mother, to this day, will tell you if you're going to see a movie or read a book, I don't like comedies. I don't like comedies. She would tell you she appreciates a sense of humor. Now, in fact, okay, I can say this because my mom never listens, and I don't care if anybody else hears this. My mom nowadays, like to this minute, often talks about how funny my brother is, and she just really appreciates his sense of humor. My brother is funny, and he does have a good sense of humor. And he's often telling like sticky dad jokes and like puns and stuff at a family gathering, like when we're having the family photo taken. He's definitely punny and funny. But my mom often talks about how funny he is and just she enjoys his sense of humor and she just loves to watch him at a party because he's so funny. And I sit there every time and I get real salty and quiet and I think to myself in my own brain, since when did we value being funny in this family? And B, I'm the funny one. I get no respect. My mother does not appreciate comedy. She certainly never, my mom likes the kind of comedy where you can predict the joke, where it makes you feel smart. Mm-hmm. So like really, we've talked about the kind of inverse law of humor. My mom truly likes a kind of joke. She does like some funny shows for sure. I can never quite figure out her sense of humor, except to say that she likes stuff that I find quite predictable, where you as the audience feel as smart as like when you can see the punchline coming, that's very like, vaudeville to me. I mean, it's very Borscht Circuit to me. You know, it's real like dad jokes or puns or I don't know, stuff like that where it just feels like, I can see one step ahead. It's the opposite of Penn and Teller, right? Where I feel duped by them. My mother never likes to feel duped. I don't like to feel duped by magicians, but I do like to feel duped by people who are being funny and make me laugh so hard and I didn't know we were going there. I used to sneak up and watch late night comedy shows. Absolutely forbidden. We weren't allowed to watch much TV as a kid at all. I was not allowed to watch much at all. Obviously, that relaxed as I became a teenager, but certainly I wasn't allowed to stay up late and watch Saturday Night Live the night before church or whatever. Did it, all of it. David Letterman, Conan O'Brien. I mean, and it was all back in the, back in the day, no social media. How I learned comedy was funny because it was secret. Certainly you'd talk to other people at school and stuff about skits on Monty Python or Saturday Night Live or whatever. It was part of, it was very much, I knew, Mad Magazine, National Lampoon movies, that was part of our zeitgeist. And knowing Chevy Chase movies came from Saturday Night Live, that kind of legacy. I watched it as a normal kid of the 80s, but I also secretly studied it and didn't ever try to be fun. I always got in trouble for being funny, but it just felt like me being a show off or bad or dumb or whatever. I did not own that I wanted to be funny very often. I liked it. I always liked making people laugh, but a lot of times it would get me in trouble or I would get attention that felt weird. As a little kid. Then I was also kind of strident and serious about a lot of things as a young person. And I see that in my older son right now too. He has a hard time laughing at himself right now. And I certainly wasn't good at laughing at myself for a good long time. And even in theater school, I was not known for having particularly good comic timing. I was kind of known for being a really good dramatic and ballsy and powerful actor. I didn't have a lot of lightness, which is what comedy is. And meanwhile, I was studying it. At one point in my life, I would have told you, I think I have read every printed word about the backstage history of Saturday Night Live, period. I've read it all. That's different than reading about joke writing. But I did a lot of, you study comedy writing and you teach it to high school kids because of the logical fallacies that are involved. The magician knows the trick. How something is written to be funny, what a satire is. That was part of being an English teacher. And I did like talking to you guys about funny stuff. Never got to spend as much time as I wanted. Sort of, let's deconstruct how you actually write a joke in a high school English class. That would have been fun. But we were busy, teaching you a modest proposal and stuff like that, like learning how to recognize satire and using Dave Chappelle a lot. I use that kind of stuff to go, this is race, this is commentary on important things in America from this perspective of laughing, which I think makes it more approachable. We did study that in African-American literature. But down to the nitty-gritty of how do you write a joke and what are the literary conventions that you turn on their head to, I like it as a writer, always have, right? But I've always known as an adult, I was not raised in a funny family. And as a certain point as an adult, I started realizing how very, very much I value that. Like what an actual value it is to me. For a while, I thought it was just like, I like guys who make me laugh, right? No, as we've talked about on this show over and over, it's all I have. Life feels so hard and so serious that turning it and finding a way to make it funny feels so smart to me and so vital to me that that's why I love it. But no, I wasn't raised by a funny family. I was discouraged from being a show-off. I would get in trouble in family pictures for acting the fool. Just be quiet and, big mouth, trying to be funny, doing stuff to be funny. I don't know. Anyway, so I wasn't raised in a funny family, and I still find it kind of galling when my mother seems to value humor. She has been wonderful to me. I was, in fact, telling her recently about why I'm doing stand-up comedy, and she said the most beautiful, forgiving, graceful thing. She said, it's what you need right now. And that's all I needed to hear from my mom. So no shade, but it is weird. We were also not brought up with parents who teased us in a mean way at all. I thought of this recently because I did do that funny little roast battle, and I've done it a couple of times, and I've realized I'm not naturally good at roasting people, except that all I have to do is sort of think back one step from my polite brain and go, oh no. It's the shit you think about people that you don't say. You know what I mean? If you're going to roast somebody, it's based on their looks or the stereotype you just placed them into the category while they're walking down the street, or I hate your eyebrow, or well, how could you wear that in public? All of those voices, I was taught, of course, as a polite person, to turn off.
Those.
Sure. Yeah. And then when
you don't
they
have anything nice to say, keep your goddamn mouth shut.
Correct. My father would just say, don't say anything at all. But that's right. Or then, is it too judgy? Or why do you like to critique everything? Or you don't like anything? I mean, if I want to sit there and critique the Thanksgiving meal, that seems real negative to people. But I realize, like, that is all I have to do is kind of unhinge or go one step back into whatever my brain. If I'm going to do a roast and go, oh my God, it just starts pouring out.
I guess that's the appeal of the roast, right? Is everyone in the audience is thinking, here's what I would say, but I would never say that because that's so awful.
That's exactly right.
And then someone gets up there and does it.
That's exactly right. And the roasts that quote win, like the lines that kill, the murdery ones, are exactly right. That's what somebody, it's like, oh shit, I didn't think that, or I thought it, I wouldn't say it, or like, oh, it's the shock of recognition, 100%. And it is, and it comes from that very mean place, which, right, I was very much taught to turn off, but I was taught a lot of things that didn't make me funny. And it has been I still don't consider myself that, I know I'm funny, but like I'm not a very good stand-up comic. Then that's not, we've talked about, it's not, I'm a very good writer I'm a very good funny writer. Stand-up is a completely different art form, and I still find it a fun writing project and for all of it. I love it, and I want to get better at it. And to think that I can tell jokes, it's still fun, man. I mean, the set that I want to do tonight, it's like, it's frustrating because I've been making myself be disciplined in this little studio and my house and write this book that I want to have out in time for Christmas, which is coming along. I'm feeling good about it. But I have done less comedy, and it's all fine and good and keeps me in, I can have a more regular daily schedule. But I just get so frustrated because if I have 3 mics to do in a night, then I can try 3 different new things, or I can try one set 3 different ways and get it better each time. And now I'm like, I have 3 different things I want to try. And I'm going to do 1 mic tonight. It's so boring. And you only get your 3 minutes or 4 minutes. And let me tell you, you're fighting for those. So, I'm going to just start having to do more of my comedy at my friends, I guess. Is this funny? I'm not going to do that. But, I still like all of that. It is intoxicating making a joke funnier. It is intoxicating getting input from a friend or a critic and saying, it's been interesting. So there's one in particular that a guy said to me, a guy I respect, why don't you try this line? And I added it in, and at first I didn't sell it because it wasn't mine and I didn't believe in it, and now it's very funny. So that's fun, working on all of that. Yeah, I don't know. I was not raised in a funny family. I was raised, my mom's family is very, I think, sarcastic and jokey and so teasy that it felt mean to her, and I think that was partly, she married a man who wasn't verbally, my dad used to call himself, I'm such a wordsmith, as a joke. He was not a verbal, he was an engineer. Words were not his thing. And he was never verbally quick or abusive. He had his own funny stuff, that we all said, but everybody has a sense of humor, but it wasn't like an actively funny family. The Lane family is, if you met and hung out with any of them, well, you have and you will, very funny people, like very good and high-level conversation and stuff, and we laugh a lot together, but I would not say like that a major value. It's not one of those families. It's like you're saying, I'm sure within siblings, there are the siblings that do that. Like my boys, they are at each other all the time with funny stuff and kidding around and inappropriate stuff and all of that. Constantly. So I'm sure that goes on with like siblings within a family. But again, just not a family where we sit around and tell jokes. Gosh, I know some families where it gets to that. Like it gets to the part of the evening where people are telling one-liners and stuff, which, by the way, kill me now. That I would not enjoy. I don't know why, but because hearing people tell other people's jokes. Oh my God, I've told you about doing comedy on Maui, and I think I'm going to go back
Mrs.
soon.
Filholm, you're getting real close to your 2-minute limit on the comedy
Oh,
talk.
sorry.
There's
just a place in the world, and probably a lot of places where other people do other people's jokes. I think that's so weird.
It is kind of weird.
Okay, sorry, I didn't mean to talk too much. But you asked me about growing up in a funny family.
I know.
Okay. Any questions? Sorry, I talked a lot.
Yeah. Do you think words. That in our recording today we brought any ruckus at all?
Don't know.
Not even a little.
Teeth, computers.
Number one tooth fetish podcast.
I know. Teeth. Yep. I don't know. Maybe there's some ruckus, Andrew. You're going on vacation. We may not have brought ruckus, but you brought sourdough, but not to me. But I'm going to get it soon.
I'll bring you some this weekend.
Will the sourdough starter survive while you're on vacation for a week?
Yeah, you can. I'll give you the whole instructions when I give it to you, but you can leave it in your fridge for a week.
I think I remember that. Will Whiskers survive?
Yeah, he's staying with the parents.
Oh, God. That's taking one for the team. All right, well, bring some ruckus to Canada.
Will do.
Bye, Andrew.
Bye, Mrs. Filholm. And we're back.
Did you listen to that one thing that I put? Of course, you didn't check follow up. Oh, I posted one of my favorite things, and you didn't watch it. Okay.
Where does follow-up live? Is that in Slack?
It's a fucking Google Doc.
Well, how am I supposed to know to check it if it only changes once every month?
I just think that it doesn't. I work on it every fucking week. It's just that, whatever, bro. You could look at it before you come. I know, I'm supposed to tell you, and I'm something in there. They wasn't that good. It's just my favorite thing of the week. Okay, are you ready?
I'm ready.